It's June 15, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I'm out for an afternoon sail on my 1972 Allied Princess 36 Seaquestor. We're just now sailing east. We're past the east end of Greening Island. There's Bear Island Light in the distance over there, and Sutton Island ahead. We're going to try to go south of Sutton Island if the wind will let us. And there are the cranberries. Don't know where we're going, may just sail around. And it's looking south out the western way, where there was very little wind out there when we came over. At seawall, it was basically flat. And behind us is Southwest Harbor. Well, we're on our way right now, making 4.6 knots in light air. And we are beating. Well, as we approach the west end of Sutton, there's a Concordia yawl sailing the other way. Nice old wooden boat. We're beating, they're kind of running downwind. And it looks like there's not a whole lot of wind up here, so we'll probably tack around in a little bit. As it's a light air day, the forecast was for the wind to drop off to 2 to 3 knots this afternoon. But I'm thinking that there might be a bit of sea breeze coming up as the warm air over Mount Desert Island there rises. Well, it's definitely a light air day. We're doing 2.2 to 2.3 knots right now, and the wind is, you can feel it, but it's not exactly strong, and we are beating. There's little Cranberry ahead. I don't think we're going to go there because it looks like the water ahead of us is pretty flat. So I think I'm going to tack. Well, we tacked around and we're now on a beam reach. So I'll turn this upwind a little. See, it's pretty light here. We're making 2.5, but the wind is picking up. Oh, 2.7. Oh my gosh. As we're headed west toward Southwest Harbor. Well, given the wind, I suspect that today is going to be a sail back and forth across the Great Harbor, because you get in behind the islands with this wind direction and the wind just goes away. But out here, where we're in open water to the south, which is where the wind is coming from, we have a little wind. Not a lot. We're doing a blistering 2.7 knots as the boat slices through the water. I can almost see a trail of steam behind us. It's going through the water so fast. Well, not really. And you can see what it's like out here as we reach back west. Let's see if I can get a view. Along the side of the boat. Not much. There's another boat over there sailing. Everybody seems to be just sailing back and forth out here. Not many boats out though. I can see 1, 2. Let's see, I'll stand up. Yeah, I can see 2 other boats. No, 3 other boats under sail. This fellow over here is tacking right now before he runs out of wind. So 3 boats under sail. See if there's anybody behind us. No. So it's pretty flat out here today. It's a beautiful day. It's warm, around 70 degrees, light air, sunny, and as you can see, quite pretty, but nobody's boating. The wind is piping up. We're up to 3.6. And over there we have a cruising boat motoring toward Northeast Harbor. Saw them coming in the Western Way a little bit ago under power. They have an in-mast main and roller furling, and they haven't bothered to unroll any sails. So I'm guessing it's not very windy out there. Typically on a day like this, this area has about the strongest wind you're going to see. And as we look over here, there's a Friendship sloop sailing toward the Cranberries. Sail number 271. If you look that up on the Friendship Sloop Society, you can find out who it is. I do not remember off the top of my head which boat that is. And it looks pretty empty out the Western Way. A few lobster boats, and that's about it. And here's a lobster boat in a hurry to make it back into harbor. Sure where he's going. I thought he was headed toward northeast, but now he seems to be headed toward the Cranberries. And there's a Hinkley jet boat zipping along. Other than that, here we are on June 15, and there's not much boat traffic out here. That's a brand new Hinkley jet boat going toward Northeast Harbor from southwest, just passed behind that sailboat. You can tell it's brand new because it's painted gray, just primer, and it was in the marina yesterday. Well, we're headed toward Great Cranberry Harbor. I think I'll sail in there, and if the wind will let me, and we'll take a look and see what the guest moorings look like over there. And there's the Little Cranberry on the right, Sutton Island on the left, and the gap out into the Gulf of Maine. And looking south from where we are now, you can see basically a lot of water, and Long Island, where the village of Frenchboro is located out there. And that's about it. You hear a bell buoy. That wind is shifting. So we got a wind shift and a wake from somebody. Both at the same time. So that wind shift turned us well away from Great Cranberry Harbor, which is now here off to starboard. And yeah, I think I can head back up. The combination of a wake and a little bit of a wind shift put us head into the wind. As we approach Great Cranberry Harbor, the wind is dropping off, and we're down to 1.8 knots. So I don't think we're going to make it all the way into the edge of the mooring field to check out their guest moorings, unless the wind picks up. Oh, 2 knots. Wow. So I think I'm probably going to tack around and head back out of here. Well, we tacked around. There's Mount Desert Island over there, over the top of Sutton. And looking over toward the entrance to Somme Sound. And there's 2 sailboats over there under sail, 1 under power. So it's not very busy out here today. Such a nice day. I'm surprised that more people aren't out sailing. Well, after a couple more tacks, we made a little bit more distance to the south, and we're headed in toward the Great Cranberry Island mooring field again. Now, off this dock here, it gets quite shallow. We're at about 1/3 tide right now, and we're in 19 feet and getting shallower. But I think we're okay. There is water here even at low tide, so shouldn't be too bad. 18 feet. And there goes the friendship sloop Alice E. It looks like it only has 1 or 2 people on board for a light air sail here on the Great Harbor. Great Cranberry has a lot more sort of smaller summer cottages, but there are a few kind of biggish ones, like this one here with this point and their own dock, everything. As we come into the mooring field from the west, and we're heading just a little bit south of east here, and we're going to sail through a bit of the mooring field and see if we can pick out those guest moorings that I know are over here. See where they are and how many there are. Right over there, the big dock is the town dock, and you can go in there and tie up at the floats for 2 hours. If you want to come over here and tie your boat up at one of the floats, just make sure you don't extend past the end of the last float, because one of the ferries likes to tie up there, and they don't like to have to dodge the bow or stern of somebody's boat. So, here we go. You can just see Schoodic coming into view there to the east, off the east end of Sutton Island. Yeah, you can see a bunch of cars parked there at the head of the town dock. A lot of those are what are referred to as island cars. Cars that people keep on the island. There is no car ferry service to the island. If you want to take a car over here, you have to charter a barge to haul you over. So it's not cheap to bring a car over, and people tend to bring them and leave them. There's the Newman and Gray boatyard over there. As we come into the mooring field here on Great Cranberry Island. And there are getting to be a few pleasure boats in here, mostly small sailboats and skiffs, and a couple of bigger boats. And we're going to sail through and pick out those guest moorings, then we will decide where to go from there. There is a little store right at the head of the town dock where you can pick up various supplies. And if you walk about half a mile across the island, there is a little restaurant called Hetty's, which is quite nice. You have a courtyard you can sit in and have your lunch. And you can also walk out to the beach there. There is a public trail that goes out to the beach that starts right at Hetty's, and there's also a museum there. As we are sailing right into the mooring field, and we'll see what there is out here in terms of guest moorings. For example, I believe that is a town guest mooring right there. They pretty much are the outermost moorings in the mooring field. And here goes a small boat headed over toward Mount Desert Island. I'm guessing we've got a couple more town guest moorings up ahead. We'll sail through and take a look. This is the first time I've been in the Great Cranberry mooring field for quite a while. This is a nice island to walk on. I find it more pleasant than walking on Little Cranberry because there are nice public trails, and it isn't as buggy as Little Cranberry. Little Cranberry is pretty bad when it comes to mosquitoes, particularly later in the day. Here's another town guest mooring. So it looks like the outermost moorings in the mooring field are town guest moorings. And like they are over at Little Cranberry, they're free here because the Cranberry Islands and Sutton Island make up the town of the Cranberry Isles. It's a separate little municipality. And they want to encourage you to come over here by boat. So if you have your dinghy, you can just sail or motor over here, grab one of these moorings, and take your dinghy into the town dock and go ashore. If you pick up a mooring, you can spend as long as you want ashore. If you go into the dock with the big boat, you're limited to 2 hours. And let's see, this says EST. I'm guessing that this is another town guest mooring. Getting a bit of a wake here, so it's a little lumpy. So it looks like there are 3 town guest moorings here at Great Cranberry Island, and we found 3 at Little Cranberry Island. Yeah, guest, unless this belongs to somebody named Guest, I'm betting that it's a town guest mooring. Yep. Okay, so this is Great Cranberry Island Harbor. And as I have said before, these are nice if you want to just visit the island. You can stay overnight, but you can see it's pretty wide open out here, and every boat that goes by leaves a wake, and these tend to be kind of rolly moorings. So I'm going to jibe around, and we're going to head back west. Yep, just jibed around. Jibing in 4 knots of wind isn't very challenging. And pretty easy to do on this boat. As we are headed back in the direction of Southwest Harbor. And one last look at Great Cranberry Harbor. Well, it's about 4:20, and as often happens on light air days, the big wind switch in the sky seemed to have been set to off. The wind has dropped off quite a bit. On our last tack this way, we were making 4.5 knots. Now we're making 1.7, 1.6. And I suspect that we're headed back to Southwest Harbor. We're going to pick up our mooring and spend the night there. I suspect that by the time we get there, basically there will be no wind. So probably 30-35 minutes at this rate to make it back into Southwest Harbor. Do one more pan around here. That is looking northwest toward the entrance to Somme Sound. North toward the entrance to Northeast Harbor. A little bit east of north toward Bear Island Lighthouse, with Cadillac Mountain, the right-hand hill, in the background. And then northeast to Sutton Island, east to the gap between Sutton and Little Cranberry, and Little Cranberry and Great Cranberry with a Hinckley 41 sailing slowly toward Northeast Harbor. That boat sails out of Northeast Harbor, so I'm pretty sure that's where he's going. And now looking south toward the Western Way. And looks like there's a barge and a Coast Guard buoy tender coming in. So we're 3 sailboats left out here, and we're all headed in, it looks like. Well, We sailed most of the way back to the mooring, but the wind was a little too light to sail through the last few moored sailboats, so we motored back the last quarter mile and picked up the mooring, and we are here for the night. I'll just pan around and show you the view from our mooring here in Southwest Harbor, Maine. That is the view to the south. That's the man-set shore of Southwest Harbor. And our neighbors. It's a little Bunker and Ellis cruiser. And there's the Great Harbor Marina. We are currently about 1/4 mile from our slip in the mooring, or in the marina, but we'll stay out here. It's much more peaceful than in the marina. That's looking north at the north side of Southwest Harbor. And looking east out towards Sutton Island and the Cranberries. And there's our neighbor just to the southeast. That's a Pearson 35. So this is where we're going to spend the night tonight on June 15th. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our light air sail today on the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't, why don't you consider subscribing to my channel? Thanks for watching.